On the broadcast tonight, Checkpoint, a new level of security screening coming to the nation's airports. Was it a close call here at the Olympic Games, where we're learning the wrong man may have gotten too close to Vice President Biden, despite a fortune in safeguards in place here? Hit Squad, a mysterious assassination carried out with clockwork precision, caught on tape. But who were the killers? And Half-Pipe Dream. Tonight's the night for snowboard ace Shaun White. But before his big run, he talks to us. Nightly News begins now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams, reporting tonight from the Olympic Winter Games in Vancouver.
Good evening. At these Olympic Games today, security emerged as an issue. More on that in just a moment. But first, here tonight, we learned today there is more airport security coming soon to an airport near you. And you can blame the young man accused of trying to blow up a plane in midair on approach into Detroit. The TSA, the airport security folks, today announced they will begin randomly screening the palms of passengers beginning soon. Roving inspectors in U.S. airports will start taking chemical swab samples of travelers' hands to try to pick up signs of any explosives that travelers might have come in contact with. This is a new development. We begin with NBC's Tom Costello in Washington. Tom, good evening.
Hi, Brian. This new procedure comes after the attempted bombing of that Delta Northwest flight 253 from Amsterdam to Detroit on Christmas Day. The TSA says these screenings will be random, pulling passengers aside and swabbing their hands with a cotton material, then putting that swab through a detector looking for any traces of explosive residue. The TSA already does this on hand luggage pulled aside for secondary screenings. Now this technique will be used on the hands themselves.
Washington Newsroom. Tom, thanks. On the subject of security, a report tonight from our Canadian broadcast partners at CTV says it looks like the wrong man was able to get very close to Vice President Joe Biden during the Olympic opening ceremonies here in Vancouver. It certainly isn't for lack of spending money or lack of effort on the security front at these games. Our own Jim Maceda has been following this. He's here with our report tonight. Jim, good evening.
Brian, hi there. It's unclear whether this individual was actually targeting Joseph Biden in any way, but what is clear is that he managed to penetrate 2 layers of security with a forged access pass. Now, the man from British Columbia apparently has a history of mental illness, according to the CTV. That Canadian network that broke the story. On Friday night, he said that at the opening ceremony, the individual was stopped by 2 female plainclothes Canadian Mounties. As this man approached the VIP box, apparently VP Biden and others were seated in the box. The police saw that his pass was fake, at which point he attempted to escape and was taken into custody. Now, Canadian security officials say the man was unarmed and did not intend to harm Biden in any way. Meanwhile, according to our colleague Pete Williams, the Secret Service says it has no independent knowledge about the case. But as you suggested, after spending $1 billion on the sophisticated high-tech security network, today the Canadian officials are scratching their heads trying to figure out how this breach could have happened.
So many eyes in the sky and elsewhere for all the thousands of visitors to these games. Jim Maceda following it for us tonight. Jim, thanks. Now we switch our coverage back to Washington tonight, where 1 year ago today, President Barack Obama signed the economic stimulus package into law, a plan he said was crucial to saving the economy and jobs. Today, he and Democrats on Capitol Hill defended that record, while many others have a different view. Our report tonight from NBC's Lisa Myers.
Today, the president said that the much-maligned stimulus package staved off economic catastrophe.
1 year later, it is largely thanks to the Recovery Act that a second depression is no longer a possibility.
Many economists agree that the $787 billion package of infrastructure spending, tax cuts, and aid to states has created jobs and helped pull the economy out of a deep recession. 3 economic research firms estimate that 1.6 to 1.8 million jobs have been created so far, with more gains projected this year. And painful job losses have slowed dramatically. Last January, the economy was hemorrhaging jobs at a rate of 780,000 a month. That slowed to 20,000 last month. Economist Mark Zandi, who advises both Republicans and Democrats, says the stimulus was absolutely vital, but not perfect.
The stimulus was effective. It helped the economy. We're out of recession into recovery, but it wasn't as effective as it could have been. The bang for the buck was not as large as it should have been.
The White House had forecast that the stimulus would keep unemployment from going above 8%. Instead, the jobless rate soared to 10.2% last fall and stood at 9.7% last month. Economist Kevin Hassett says the costly package actually hurts in the long run.
The administration decided to give us a sugar high last year rather than to fix something that was broken. The problem is that we still have to fix the broken things, and now we don't have any money.
Critics also have ridiculed some projects as wasteful. $1.6 million for free water taxi rides, $1 million to improve security on dinner cruises in 8 cities, and studies about how honeybees learn and the sex drive of rats on hard drugs. The president acknowledged that despite progress, this doesn't feel like a recovery to millions of Americans. So he's pushing to spend another $100 billion this year to try to create more jobs soon. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
Still on the economy, a quick look at Wall Street today. The Dow hung on to yesterday's big gains and added another 40 points, closing just above 10,300. Toyota making news tonight just when you thought you'd heard it all. A new issue with the steering on the one model that sells more than any other. CNBC's Phil LeBeau reports tonight from Hodgkins, Illinois.
Already fixing more than 8 million cars and trucks and spending close to $2 billion to do it, Toyota's facing new questions about its reliability. The federal government tells NBC News tonight it will open an investigation into complaints the Corolla's power steering is not responsive, looking at nearly 500,000 2009 and 2010 Corollas.
They've had such a great...
A story from overseas tonight. We are learning more this evening about an intricate assassination plot, the stuff of movies, carried out by a mysterious hit squad in Dubai last month. Much of it caught on tape. The target was a Palestinian leader. Question is, who killed him? We get more from our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel.
The sophisticated assassination culminates here at Dubai's luxury Bustan Rotana Hotel, where the 11-member hit team is waiting with disguises. Hotel security cameras show a bald man check in, but he leaves a bathroom wearing a wig and glasses. The only known female suspect is also seen at the reception desk with dark hair, but later she's a blonde. Then the target finally checks in, Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, a Hamas military leader. As Mabhouh heads to an elevator, he's followed by 2 men in shorts carrying tennis rackets. On the second floor, one of the men in shorts follows Mabhouh, apparently to check his room number, as the other watches for cover. Mabhouh would be dead within hours, and the hit team out of Dubai before the body is found. Intelligence sources in London say the female member of the assassination team gains access to Mabhouh's room by pretending to be a maid. When he opens the door, he's shocked with some kind of taser to subdue him and then smothered. But now there's a fallout. The assassins used 6 British passports. Tonight, the British government is asking Israel for an explanation. Several of the passports used in the plot have the identities of real people living in Israel, including handyman John Paul Keeley. Today, his house is shuttered. I'm angry. I can't understand. Why me, he asks. Experts say it's to beat security at Dubai's high-tech airport.
You could come along with a false passport. That would be a red flag straight away. So what they have done, and it's a classic example, incidentally, of identity theft. The only difference between the details in the passport were indeed the photographs of the individuals that went in.
Israel will not confirm or deny it was behind the assassination. Dubai police suspect more assassins may have been involved. They are continuing to search for accomplices. Richard Engel, NBC News, London.
Now to these Winter Games here in Vancouver, and perhaps the most anticipated day yet of these Olympics, something they branded Super Wednesday. Among other things, this was American skiing sensation Lindsey Vonn's day to race for the gold medal in the women's downhill after her recent training injury. As for how she did, we're going to do what we've done in years past. We don't want to spoil the result for those who don't want to see it until tonight's NBC sports coverage. So we'll roll some music here. Look away from your screen until you hear the music end as we show the rest of you the winners of the gold, silver, and bronze medals. All right, then, safe to come back. And when Nightly News continues from Vancouver this Wednesday evening, my conversation with snowboard halfpipe star Shaun White about his incredible success and what he's doing with his life off the snow. And later, a champion, an Olympian, a role model for anybody who's ever had to face down a bully. We're back now in front of the Olympic cauldron, where organizers have responded to an uproar over the view of the flame. They've moved a safety fence in, allowing people to get closer, and they're giving visitors a better look at it. A new platform has been opened up above. There's already a line forming of people who want to come in and see the cauldron from an unobstructed high view. A big night of competition, as we said, ahead after a big day. One highlight sure to be the return of Shaun White to Olympic competition. The young man who's come to define his chosen sport is back to defend his snowboard gold medal. I talked to him about his fame, his fortune, and what he's doing with all of it. What if someone came to you and said that you now had to work as hard at giving away all the money you've made in your life as you have making all of your money? What are the causes that are important to you?
I don't know. I mean, I've always thought of, what would be relevant to my life in that way. There's a place, Target House, and they do some really amazing stuff. It's a place where, actual miracles happen every day. I was from downtown. Target House is a long-term care facility for families that are down there. We redid one of the rooms at the house there for the kids, and I actually had some heart issues when I was younger, some defects of the heart, and I actually stayed in a similar facility like this. So it's cool to have somewhat of a full circle like that.
And you've been to Africa, right?
I did.
You've seen relief efforts over there.
Yeah, I went down there. I went to Rwanda and went to schools and orphanages. We might need some more skateboards. What's your name? Patrick. I'm Sean. Freckles.
Yeah, looking the difference?
That's cool. It was just to kind of show them some fun and take their minds off the problems at hand. So bring forward.
When we see you on the Olympic coverage, you're most all the time very cheerful, smiling. It's been your public image. What part of it do you not like?
I would say that I miss some of the way things used to be, in the sense just going to the grocery store is hard.
Right.
Like doing the simple things. Going to meet the family, or I'll just be hanging out on the street and somebody will drive up in a car and hop out with skateboards to sign or something.
And that's their only encounter with you, and you still have to play it nice.
Yeah, I'll do anything if it's a young kid. Because I remember going up and asking for an autograph and getting denied when I was younger. And it just left that mark. I was so hurt. Yeah. And I remember, I just remember being so bummed out on that. And now when I see kids, I always try to do something a little extra.
Our talk with Shaun White. So many other of the athlete profiles are on our website, and when we come back, someone else you'll be seeing tonight. Tiger Woods put the word out today to make a statement to the press this Friday morning to talk about his past and his future. It'll be his first public appearance since his car accident last Thanksgiving night led to the wave of stories about his marital infidelities. According to today's announcement, Woods, quote, intends to apologize for his behavior. Bill Clinton was back at work, back in the spotlight today at an event focusing on childhood obesity. He talked about his trip to the hospital last week and said he thinks he brought some of this heart stress on himself.
I think one of the things that really knocked me out before this happened was once the Haiti earthquake happened, I didn't sleep much for a month. And that probably accelerated what was already going on with his failing vein.
Former president said he would continue to work hard, but also work at managing his stress level better, getting more needed sleep and exercising regularly. New York City went to the dogs last night, specifically a Scottish Terrier named Roundtown Mercedes of Mary Scott, better known as Sadie, who won Best in Show at the Westminster Dog Show. Sadie was the heavy favorite going in, keeping with the show's long history of making terriers top dog. When we continue from Vancouver, a young man in a hurry and the bumpy start that made him that way. Back in Vancouver tonight, if you watch any Olympic coverage at all, then you know all these athletes seem to come in here with a remarkable story, something that gets them to this place. Tonight, one of the best of them will compete here in the men's 1,000 meters in speed skating. He is America's Trevor Marsicano, and our own Lee Cowan has his story.
The competitive spirit starts pretty early.
That's it.
Just ask speed skater Trevor Marsicano. He says he's seen faster than you.
You think you're faster than me?
No. Lee Cowan, NBC News, Milwaukee.
And a reminder, NBC Sports primetime Olympic coverage begins tonight at 8/7 Central. We'll go out by showing you what we look like 4,000 feet up atop Grouse Mountain. For now, for us, that's our broadcast for this Wednesday night. As always, thank you for being with us. I'm Brian Williams reporting tonight from alongside the Olympic Cauldron in Vancouver. We'll look for you right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.